Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. So this is the data analyst channel. If this is your first time on this channel, kindly subscribe to this channel and tap on the notification bell so that when new videos are uploaded, you can get a video notification. So today we are going to look at how we can use Excel to perform simple data analytics, do some visualization and get some insight. So this is a data, so we are going to go through this where this one, depending on the price, we get different color. How we can do this bar, and then we will be performing some logic function, the if function and the switch function, the ifs and the ifs function as well. And then we use the sum product as well, and then you'll be able to perform some dynamic calculations. So for instance, this, depending on the condition here or the store here, the value changes. Okay, so this is how it is. So we'll go through this one as well, and then we'll look at the let and then the lambda functions as well for calculations. So now stay tuned as we go into our work. Yeah, so this is the data analyst channel. So this is the data we are going to work with. So we have category, product, store, volume, price, and cost. You get the link to these data sets in the video description. I'll put the GitHub link so that you can tap on it and then you download it and you follow along. Okay, so we want to, the volume, you would want to know, represent it by bar charts. Okay, so for the volume, this is it. We will highlight this. We come to conditional formatting, and then we click on data bars. So then I'm going to select this one. Okay, so once I select it, this is it. So assuming I change the value here, it's going to affect the bar. As you can see, if I change this one, it's going to affect the bar. Okay, so that is it. And then the price, we want to highlight the price depending on the high, the lowest, and then also the medium price. So the same way we highlight this, we come to conditional formatting, then we come to color scale. Then we select any of them. Now I come here, I want to edit my rules. So I can come here, if you want to manage, come to edit my rule, and then you can change it to 2 color scale. You check it, but we are going to use 3 color scale. Okay, and then we click on OK. So now if you come here, if you come to edit rule, the lowest value is represented by this color, the medium by that, and the highest value by that. However, if for instance you see this is 1.79, if I change it to, let's say, 50, the color will change. You can see the color has changed. Okay, so if this one I change it to, let's say, 12, you can see the color is very dynamic and then it changes accordingly. And then the cost as well, we would want to check the highest cost and all. So we highlight this as well. We come to conditional formatting and then come here. You come to manage rules. Okay, and then we come to new rule. We come to cells. We select this one, cells that contain. So this one, we want a cell value that is greater than 20. So 20. We come to format, and then the color, we want this one. Okay, and then we go to formats, we come to the fill color, 9. We select maybe something like this. Okay, and then we see, we click on apply and OK. So as you can see, this one, the values that are greater than 20 are colored this way. So for instance, this one, if I make it 23, you see the color will change, it will be highlighted. If I change this one to, let's say, 12, it changes. So there is the dynamic visualization. So depending on what you would want to do with the data, you'll be able to perform this simple visualization using Excel. Now let's come to the logic conditions as well. So now, assuming you are working with a large data and then you want to know whether to buy, hold, or sell a product, you have a threshold, okay? Assuming it's a large data, you can't go through the price or the volume or whatever the criteria is one after the other to buy, sell, buy, sell. There is a way you can do it that will make it easy. You just put in the criteria and then you'll be able to know the assets you need to buy, sell, or hold. You just filter and then you will know which ones to sell, which ones to buy, which ones to hold. So now let's go into this condition. So we are going to start with the if statement. So with this if statement, we are going to see, for instance, we are going to consider the categories. So assuming if a particular product is equal to a particular category or falls within a particular category, you either buy or sell or hold. So in this one, so equal to if this one, this cell is equal to what is the category C, we buy. Okay. So we are using the nested if. Else if this same cell is equal to category A, we sell, else we are going to hold. Okay, and then we can click here, probably bring it down, or you can select everything, Control D, and then we fill down. Okay, so now we said that if this cell is equals to this cell is equals to category A, C, we buy. If it is equal to A, we sell, else we hold. So from this, we know the ones we are going to buy, the ones we are going to sell, and the ones we are going to hold. We can perform the same thing with the switch function as well. So with the switch function equal to switch, equals to switch, and then this one, if it is category A, category C, we buy, comma, category B, we used A, we sell, else we hold it. Okay, so we use Control D, then we bring it down. Okay, so this is how the switch function is. The switch function is straightforward and it's easy to use. I think the switch function is available from Microsoft 2019 or so. So if it is not in yours, if you are using 2016 or below, I think it may not be available in that package. Now we are going to use the if to also determine if the cost is more than a particular threshold, either say it as high or medium or small or low cost, or probably if the volume is more than a particular threshold, we say it's high, medium, or low, depending. So equals to if. So if this cost is greater than, let's say 20, or let's say 20, okay, then we say it is high. Okay, else if this thing, okay, is greater than 5, we say medium. Let's make it 10. We say medium, else we talk about small. Okay, so this is small, the analogy, and then we bring it here. Now, the ifs condition is similar to the switch. So equal to ifs, okay? This one greater than 20, we talk about large. 9, high. Then, if this same thing is greater than, we use 10, we talk about medium. Or we talk about small. Okay. We talk about small. Let me check the error. Okay. So let's fix this one. Let's fix this one. So equal to ifs this one is greater than 20, we talk about high. If this one is greater than 10, we talk about medium. Okay, else if this one is greater than 0, we talk about small. Else if this one is less than 0, then give us an error because it's not possible. Okay, so this one. Okay, so assuming I change this one to 0, you see, instead of giving me error, let me write this one so that it's not available. So let me change this one to less than or equal to 0. Then I can get this one less than or equal to 0. So if this one is, let's say, -1, you can see it's not, this one less than or equal to 0. Yeah. So you can see it. Or we can still bring less than, so we can bring error here, so we get the error here. Okay. So that is how it is. Now we come to the sum products. Okay, we are going to sum the products of all these things, and then we make dynamic calculations using this here. Okay, so the gross profit equals to this, the price, or we say the volume multiplied by the price. Okay, and then we come here, we get it here. So the sum is total gross profit is equals to sum. You click on it, you select this array, and we press enter. And then the same way, if you want to use the sum products too, okay, you select this one, you press here. So over here, we are going to look at conditional gross profit. Assuming we want to see the gross profit for each store, or for the stores, okay? So it's equal to, if this, where is the store? This is the store. It's equal to this one. We are going to lock this one, okay? So we are going to do absolute referencing here. If you've not watched my video on cell referencing, I'll leave the link in the video description below, so that you can watch my video on cell referencing, where I spoke about the absolute reference, relative reference, and as well as the mixed reference, and how to use them. So in this one, we are going to use absolute reference. So my keyboard, I'm going to use my function key plus F4. Okay, so you see the $ twice. If this is equals to that, then multiply this, the volume, by the cost, else return blank. Okay, then we leave it like that. So we select everything, Control D, I get it. So now let me sum them. So sum of this whole thing, sum of this whole thing up to here, and then I'm going to use the sum product as well of this whole thing as well. Okay, so assuming I change the C, you see it varies. Assuming I make it E, store E, you see, so there is the gross profit for store E. Assuming I make it store A, there is the gross profit for store A. So that is how we can use these conditions, and then the dynamic calculations for different aspects in our data, depending on the output or the results that you want. Okay, so now let's move on to the let and lambda functions. That will be the last thing we are going to look at in this video. If you've not subscribed to this channel, kindly subscribe to this channel, turn on the notification bell, and then follow and like this and share this video as well. So we are going to use the if function to see which of our categories of products is giving us profits. Do you get it? So now, and we are going to use the let function as well to check for the same thing, and also the lambda function to check for the same thing. Yeah. So now it's equal to if. So if this multiplying this, okay, minus this multiplying that, the volume multiplying the cost, is greater than 0, then give me this multiplying, or return this multiplying this, minus this multiplying that. Okay, else the business is not profitable. Okay, that is it. So returning this means that we are actually getting profit for that particular category. And then we see the feedback here. So assuming I change this to 0, you can see not profitable. Let's change it back. Now we are going to do the same for the let function. So equals to let. So let profit, okay, be this multiplying that, minus this multiplying that. Now, if profit, okay, is greater than, so now before we do this, okay, before we do this, we need to do something. I'd already done it, so let's do that first. So let's see, this equals to let's profit be let profit be this multiply this minus this multiplying that. Okay, so if profit is greater than 0, then profit is basically what we did earlier. Okay, else not profitable. Then we get this. Oh, we get this one. So we already know that profit is equal to this multiplying this minus this e2 multiplying that. Okay, we already know that this is profits. Okay, so you can see negative, negative, negative. So now if you want to use our conditions, if you want to apply this one, then you come here, you come to home. Okay, assuming you want profit to be red, profit to be green and those ones. So you can come to color skills, maybe I'll select this, and then I'll come and then manage my rules. So in my rules, I want lowest value to be red, highest value to be green. Okay, I apply. So from here I can see the ones which are profitable, the ones which are not profitable. You can see it. Okay. And here we are going to use the lambda function for this one. So lambda, we type lambda. So for the lambda, we are going to type the parameters. You see, all this while we'll be using the volume, price, cost. So you use volume, price, and then the cost. And then, as we've been doing, instead of using D times E and the cells, we are going to use the parameters. Okay, so volume multiplying price minus volume multiplying cost. Okay, then I'll now select the cells. Okay, D2, D2, F. Then I close it, I bring it here, and then this is it. So I can apply the same conditions to, so color skills, this one, come here, I'll come and manage my rules, I'll edit my rule, and then, yeah, so lowest is red, highest is green. Okay, apply. Okay, so thanks for watching this video. If you learned something new, let me know in the comment section. And then in the previous video I did on Power BI, someone requested that we do a video tutorial on Power Query. So in my next video, I'm going to do a video tutorial on how to format data using Power Query or clean data using Power Query, and then probably we'll move on to data modeling with Power Query. Thank you, and then don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video. We are going to look at referencing for absolute beginners. So referencing for absolute beginners. And then in Excel, we are going to use Excel to do this. So if you are an aspiring data analyst or you are getting started with Excel as a beginner, then this video is for you. So in this video, we are going to look at how we are going to use referencing to do dynamic calculations. So we have three types of referencing. We have absolute referencing, we have relative referencing, and also we have mixed referencing. So we are going to begin with the absolute reference, and then we see how it's going to be done. So normally some people as a beginner, one will do like this. So we are going to find 10% of the values here. Okay, so normally a beginner will do like this, equal to this multiplying. So for the multiplication, use shift and then 8 depending on your laptop, and then you click this. Okay, then the person will come and do this one again, and then we'll do this. No, this is wrong. Okay, and then they will do it for every single one. This is wrong, because some people, after they do this, they will now drag it down. Okay, this is wrong. There is no way the 10% of 10% of this will give you this. This is wrong. Okay, so how do you get it done? Assuming you have millions of data to do calculations on. So we're going to do equal to this multiplying this one. Okay, but because we are just going to find a 10%, okay, we are going to lock this particular cell. The name of the cell is what? Cell F9. Okay, so depending on your laptop, some laptops, if you are using a Windows laptop, you can press on F4 or the function key plus F4. You press it once, you lock both the row and the column. In Excel, the row begins with numbers and the columns begins with letters. So the combination of the column and the row will give you a cell. Okay, so we do this and then we are done. Now we can now drag it like this, and then we get our answer perfectly done. Okay, we can equally hold shift and then arrow down, and then you use Control D, and then you get it done. So let's repeat this for this particular one. As I said, equal to this. You click on the first one, H10 or the 10,000, then you Control 8 will give you this combination or multiplication sign, and then you click on the 25, and as I said earlier, we are going to lock the percentage because we are going to multiply all the numbers in the rows by the 25%. So we are going to use my laptop. I would have to press the function key plus F4 once. I hit enter and I'm done. Then I can hold and then drag it down, and then I'm done. So can you try this one? So equal to this. Do this. Okay, so this is for absolute referencing. We do it when we are multiplying just a particular cell, like what we did. We are using this, we are finding the 10% or 10% of all these values. So we do it when we are multiplying. So assuming I change the percentage of this one to, let's say, 30%, automatically the calculation changes. You see how dynamic it is? So let's say I change it to maybe 19%. You see how it changes? So that is the one of the importance of doing referencing for dynamic calculations. Now we come to relative reference. In this one is going to be static while the other one will change. Okay, so over here, the numbers in these rows, okay, or depending on where you are going to start the calculations from, the revenue is not going to change. Okay, it's the same, but as we move from cell to from column to column or from cell to cell, you see the percentages changes. However, yes, this revenue too will change. Okay, so we would want to know the tax rates per revenue for each year. You see in 2022, the tax rate was 10, 2023, 12, for 2024, 14, and then we project this to be what for the upcoming year. So how do we do it? How do we estimate the tax? There is an example to be paid on each revenue. So what do I do? Now equal to, I come to the revenue, then I'll multiply this, okay? If you're a beginner, some people may do it like this, then they will come and do it one after the other. Now, this is wrong. This is wrong. So as I said, assuming you have 10,000 of data to work on, it's going to take you a lot of hours. So someone may do this. This is wrong. This is wrong. So how do we do it? So now let's look at something. In this particular data set, okay, the percentages changes when we move from one column to the other. Okay, so if you look at it, this is the row. We are on the same row number 26. However, we move from column E to column F to column G and so on. So what we do is we are going to lock the row and then we leave the column. And for the revenue, because it will change year by year in every row and in every column, we leave it like that. So what do we do? So equal to this multiplied by this. Then we are going to log the row. The row is the number. As I said, in Excel, rows begins with a number and then columns begins with a letter. So we are going to press our F4 or shift, function plus F4. So 1, 2. Okay, you see now the dollar sign appears in front of the number. Then it means that the number or the row has been locked. Now we press our enter. So this one, you can drag it like this, but this is not really recommended if especially you are using a particular a large set of data. So you can use Control Shift this. This one will take you very far. Okay, so it's better to use this particular approach. Then you use Shift plus the right arrow. Okay, then you can also Shift then the down arrow. Okay, then you press Control R, fill right, and Control D, fill down, and then you get your data filled completely. Now let's look at this. When I click on this, let's see how related it is. Assuming I click on this, you can see that over here, this is highlighted and that is highlighted. Okay, so that is how it is. Or another way to get this done is you can equally do this, Control D, and then Shift, you hold Shift arrow right and then Control R, you get the same results. So this is how we do relative referencing. So in relative referencing, depending on your data, okay, depending on your data in this particular scenario, because our row was constant, okay, or all the numbers that we were looking at was on the row, we decided to log the row. Now let's look at another example where we are going to log the column. So in this example, you see our tax rate is on the column, but it changes from row to row, you see, but they are all on column E, okay, but the relative, the revenue is the same. So now let's look at this. Equal to this, we multiply it by our tax rate, depending, you can either use the tax rate or the revenue, either of them can come first. But what you need to know is which one to look. In this scenario, because our tax rate is on a particular column, but it changes from row to row, we are going to lock what? The column. So now let's where our cursor is, because we are going to use that particular, we are going to lock that particular cell. Okay, so function key plus F1 2 3, because you want to lock the particular column for the tax rates. Okay, so you can see that the dollar sign is in front of the E and then it reflects. Then I press enter. So as we did earlier, shift plus the arrow key right, then shift plus arrow key down, control R and control D, gets it done. There are no figures here because as we move down this arrow, okay, as we move down this particular column, okay, there is no number here, but assuming I put a number here, let's say 14%. Okay, let me change it to percentage. Okay, coming to 14%. You see, it populates. That is how it is. Okay, so this is how we do relative referencing. Okay, now the last one, let's look at mixed referencing. So in this mixed referencing, in this particular one, we can see that the tax rate changes from column to column, but however on the same row 65, and the revenue changes from row to row, okay, however on the same column E. So it means that what are we going to lock and what are we going to leave? Can you let me know in the comment section? So for this one, we are going to, when it comes to the tax rate, we are going to lock the row, okay? And then when it comes to the revenue, we are going to lock the column, because for the tax rate, the values changes from column to column, and for the revenue, the value changes from row to row. So now let's start. See this? Okay. So I'll bring the cursor here. The blue one is my revenue. So as I said, which one am I going to lock? I'm going to lock my column. So I'm going to press on function F4 1 2 3. I've locked my column. And then I come here, I want to lock my row for the tax rate. Okay, so I'm done. So control arrow key right, shift arrow key right, and then shift arrow key down, control R, control D, get it done. So assuming I change this to, let's say, maybe 25, it changes. Okay, assuming I change this to this dynamic calculations. Okay, so if you enjoyed this video, kindly give me a like button. Let me know what you learned. If you didn't understand anything, kindly let me know in the comment section and I'll be willing to help you, or probably make a video on that particular issue. Kindly like and subscribe to this particular channel. We have a lot of videos to share. Thank you.